Hello everybody and welcome back to our brand new episode of our F1 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we head to the back-to-back race from Bahrain. We had the full-length Bahrain last episode and now we take on Bahrain Short here this weekend. Lewis Hamilton had a catastrophic engine failure in Bahrain last episode, handing the lead over to the race winner of Valtteri Bottas, and that gives him now a 9-point advantage over Hamilton coming into the second to last race of the season. It is all hands on deck for Lewis Hamilton here today. Mathematically, he does not need to beat Valtteri Bottas to keep his championship hopes alive. Realistically, it's the same scenario we went into last episode where I said realistically, Bottas needs to beat Hamilton to keep his championship hopes alive. Well, now it's the complete opposite. Realistically, Hamilton needs to beat Bottas. It's a short track, it's going to be action-packed, it's going to be fun. I've got the length switched over to 100%. I didn't make the same mistake that I made in Suzuka Short, so this is 57 laps. It takes about a minute to get around this circuit, so this is going to be a pretty lengthy race for us, even with the shorter track. So as well, some news this weekend. We have Esteban Ocon confirmed to be returning to Formula 1 next season. He will be racing with Williams alongside potentially Nicholas Latifi, but Latifi's still not confirmed to be in the lineup next season for Williams, but we know that Esteban Ocon will return and be replacing George Russell. Now, what else do we know? Of course, we got confirmation that Sergio Perez has not been able to keep his ride with Racing Point due to basically the Lawrence Stroll influence on that team, keeping Lance Stroll on the car. We know George Russell is going to Racing Point next season, an upgrade from Williams, and on top of that, we know Sergio Perez has already gotten a ride at Alfa Romeo. He will, of course, be alongside his rookie teammate next season, Robert Schwartzman, a Ferrari prospect, as we take on qualifying. It really is disappointing to see Stroll keep his ride over, of course, Perez, simply due to family stuff, basically an influence in that team, and Perez has proven that he can, put that Racing Point on the podium where Stroll hasn't been able to put up those same results that Perez has put up. So it's frustrating to see how the politics of Formula 1 kind of work out, but every motorsport has politics and they work like that. It's a little more heightened in Formula 1 with just kind of the money and the wealth of some of these families and drivers and whatnot. But here in Q1, opening up the rear wing, coming to the line, I was relatively content with my lap, but I knew I could improve. But we went P11, Ricciardo P7, out was Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Russell, Grosjean, as well as Latifi. We now know both Haas drivers will not return next season. Magnussen and Grosjean, they will be out of a ride following the season. We don't know anyone yet replacing them. That is a complete open team. One likely suspect very well could be Mick Schumacher. Beyond that, we have to wait and see what goes on as we come through into Q2, slipping and sliding around this track a little bit here, but overall, felt like I was putting in a decent lap. I knew it wasn't incredible, but I was struggling a lot with grip here on this Bahrain Short circuit. Now, in this corner right here, this right-hander, this is another corner I was battling grip with, but I was able to get through there pretty comfortably this lap, at least, as we round the final turn and head down the front straightaway, open up that rear wing once again to the line. Only 14th, so we have to make a second lap, and I would immediately find some improvement right here into turn number 1. We find a good 0.2 of a second improvement or so, and we would continue to expand on that through this right-hander, and we're going to find about 0.3 and now 0.4 of a second. However, later in the lap, this right-hander, I overstepped the car a little bit and we go off track, and we would have to get right back into it because we had no time to come back into the pits. So we eventually had a, once again, 0.4 of a second gain through the first sector, and sector 2, we managed to get through there pretty well. Sector 3, we're about 0.4, time going down just a little bit. It's going to be about 4.5 of a gain to the line, and it's going to be enough to get into Q3. P6, Ricciardo P9, Alex Albon out again in the Red Bull. He is really having a rough final half of a season after re-signing with Red Bull for 2021. Both McLarens out as well. And as we jump into Q3, you have to wonder if Red Bull is maybe starting to question re-signing Alex Albon to a one-season extension for the 2021 season. But they're locked into it now. I mean, or are they? You have to wait and see. But surely they're not going to be very impressed with his results as of late as we continue on. Of course, Albon has that win earlier in the season at Bahrain Short, and that's kind of what led Red Bull to extending his contract, and he put together a really good first part of the season, and ever since he won in Britain, it's just been a bit downhill for Albon here as we round the final turn down the front straightaway coming to the line. What is it going to be? Only P9, beating Daniel Kvyat only. I would try to improve, but I couldn't improve. Valtteri Bottas on pole, putting the immediate pressure on Lewis Hamilton, my teammate of Ricardo, in P5 as we get ready to go to the grid. Grid penalties on the way, including Hamilton due to his mechanical failure last episode.
The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Lance Stroll, the Rainmaster, Hamilton, Vettel. They've taken a grid penalty. Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Russell, Grosjean, Nicholas Latifi, and Kvyat. Norris, Gasly, Carlos Sainz, and Kevin Magnussen. Ricciardo and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
A lot of drivers taking grid penalties, and that saves Lewis Hamilton losing too many positions. We're going for the two-stop strategy. You see on the bottom, we're going to be starting on the softs, but we might not stick with soft, medium. We might go soft, medium, because we only have one fresh set of soft tires, so it would be pretty silly to put on a used set, although they would only be like a lap or two maximum worn, so maybe we could, but we'll see. Nonetheless, we get fired off here, and Lewis Hamilton is going to start P7 with his grid penalty. Leclerc's up there in P2, Perez, Verstappen, Stroll all ahead, and we move up to P6 by avoiding any grid penalties for parts changes, and Valtteri Bottas has put all the pressure on Lewis Hamilton. If it ends the way it is right now, first for Bottas, seventh for Hamilton, it will be over. The championship will be handed off to Valtteri Bottas, but we know Lewis Hamilton does not go down without a fight. We are ready to decide a potential champion tonight, or will Hamilton keep the fight on? Let's find out. Bahrain Short 57 laps is underway under the lights here now as we get beaten off the line by Vettel and Hamilton as well. Kimi Räikkönen up here in the top 10. Don't rule out Antonio Giovinazzi, another driver without a ride for next season, needs to continue to prove himself. Could he be an option over at Haas next season, or even maybe going outside of the Ferrari structure and maybe even find himself at Williams replacing a potential Latifi? Speaking of Latifi, he's up into P11. Meanwhile, George Russell into P8. Valtteri Bottas got a great launch off the line. Now, you're not going to see a whole lot of cameras showing what's going on in the race outside of myself, because in the post-race replay, for whatever reason, it was daytime, so that would be an absolute immersion killer. So we're only going to show important stuff. If anything important does happen, like, of course, whoever wins the race, we're going to get a nice TV shot of that. But yeah, kind of a weird bug, but it is what it is, as we have now settled into P10, not where we want to be. We started P6 after all the grid penalties, and we give up 4 spots. So, of course, F1 2020 was a notorious game for getting bad starts for the players, so yeah, it is what it is. Now, Lewis Hamilton, as we're going to make a big lunge up the inside of Raikkonen. Close quarters racing, can't quite get the grip and power down there, so, but Hamilton now is actually under pressure from Latifi. Hamilton's into the top 5 as we have a bit of contact with our fellow Canadian, but Bottas leads over Leclerc. Then you got Perez, Verstappen, Hamilton. Hamilton P5, currently, of course, 5th place will give you 10 points. Well, if Valtteri Bottas wins, that will give him 15 additional points over Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's 9 back, so that would mean Hamilton still could go into Abu Dhabi with a mathematical chance at a championship. Just realistically, Bottas would have to have some kind of failure, and Hamilton's had 2 mechanical failures in the last few races, of course, at the tail end of France and at the tail end of the last episode in Bahrain. We catch Raikkonen sleeping right there. We get the job done. We've gained 2 spots spots in the last few laps. Now up into P8 here on lap 4. Sebastian Vettel, your Suzuka short winner from a couple of rounds ago, up in front of us now as he, of course, returns to Ferrari next season. Can't wait to see what he's going to be capable of doing. He was able to pass Stroll as actually take a warning for exceeding track limits, and Stroll kind of fading here after a good 4 or 5 laps, and now we have run him down here at the end of lap 6 at this point, and Vettel's continuing to drive away as we round the final turn. I'm actually going to get a little bit aggressive there, and that actually cost me another warning. So we've taken 2 warnings in the first 6 complete laps. We got to go the next 51 laps without taking a warning, otherwise we'll get a penalty as we do clear Stroll. Now, to be fair, 2 of my warnings were pretty silly on my part that can definitely be avoided, as Raikkonen actually sent it up my inside and got into my side pod, but I'm pretty confident we can get through the rest of this race without taking that 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, because the 2 warnings, like I said, were very avoidable, so I just got to make sure I don't do something again that was really avoidable. Nonetheless, we have settled into P7. Our teammate of Ricciardo might have out-qualified us, but with the grid penalty, he's actually towards the bottom of the grid right now. You can see it on the track map. He's running like 19th as we've actually got yellows. This is behind us, waiting to see what it is. It looks like a blue dot. That's a Red Bull. That's Alex Albon. Albon's out. Mechanical failure for Alex Albon. Virtual safety car deployed. Albon wasn't running good to begin with. Of course, missed Q3. And yeah, just not a good weekend again for Albon, as the safety car, virtual safety car, would end a lap later. We would be back hard on the throttle and keeping tabs on this Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas situation. Bottas still leads by multiple seconds over Leclerc, Perez, Verstappen. Hamilton still in P5 and struggling to pass the cars in front of him. Like I said already, P5 would keep Lewis Hamilton still mathematically in the game by like a point going into the Abu Dhabi finale, but you don't want to go into Abu Dhabi having to gain, 24 points to tie for a championship, and so it's not going to be easy. Hamilton's got to find the track position. He might need to get different on strategy, whatever it needs to be. He needs to try it, as we have run down Sebastian Vettel, and we're not far out of our pit window, but I was really starting to struggle on these softs. They were wearing pretty quickly, and I was starting to think I might not make it to my pit window, as we are continuing though to pressure. I mean, we're struggling, but we're running down the 4-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel as we slip a little bit right there, and we've still got Raikkonen hot on our tail, as now here we are getting a big pull from the back of that Ferrari. Can we go for an overtake on Vettel to the left side? He's going defensive on the right now. He outbrakes me into turn number 1 and actually lock up the left front. That allows Vettel to stay ahead. We squeeze in between him and Raikkonen now. Of course, 5 world championships in between a sliding Renault right there. We save it. We continue to struggle with grip now, and that's my warning right there of like, hey, we need some fresh rubber. 58% wear on the left rear, so we got to pit Sebastian Vettel. He's going to come in at the end of lap 16. You can see my tire warning light has gone yellow above the speedometer, so I say, you know what, we're going to pit a good 3-4 laps earlier. I think it was lap 20 was my pit window. We're going to pit right now. So we're going to come in. Leclerc has come in as well. So that moves Hamilton up for now. Leclerc might actually be able to get the lead depending on how long Valtteri Bottas stays out. But we're going to go to mediums. We're not going to go into softs. We will take mediums. This could be a mistake, but we'll wait and see. We get these softs off, get the mediums on. It's going to be a pretty solid 2.8 second pit stop, and we will return to the racing action as here comes the rest of the pack that is yet to pit. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. He should easily be in front of me before I'm even barely on the throttle. Hard on the throttle now. There he goes. 4-time champ says thank you very much. Ricciardo has already made a pit stop as well. He is just exiting the final turn, so we've got an entire front straightaway on our Australian teammates now, and we are on pace to outpoint Ricciardo here tonight, and we could go into Abu Dhabi season finale with a chance to beat him in the standings. It's going to be tight, but now drivers all around us starting to make their pit stops. We get past Gasly and Norris as well, and continue to go forward as Magnussen, Latifi, they come in, and as these next handful of laps goes on, more cars are just going to keep coming into the pits. Daniel Kvyat, so that puts us into P11 as we would now have Carlos Sainz in front of us there, and he's made his pits up a little bit early, which is why he's gotten the jump, but he's fading now already. His teammate of Lando Norris has run me down after pitting after me, so that McLaren's got some serious speed. Meanwhile, Leclerc sets the fastest lap. Both Mercedes have not pit yet. Hamilton, I would honestly try something different if I was Lewis. I would have already pit if I was Hamilton. He hasn't done it yet. Now, with an opportunity to go around the outside of the Spaniard of Sainz. There we go. Thank you very much. Position gained. And now he's going to fall into the grips of his teammate of Lando Norris. Norris, 2 wins in the season, having a very strong season here in 2020. Of course, they've both been rain races, surprisingly, where Norris seems to exceed. As we run down Antonio Giovinazzi, now here comes Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton has made his pit stop, just like Verstappen and Perez. Hamilton's exiting right here, 3 wide with us in traffic as we go through turn 1. Hamilton's engulfed in traffic. This could be huge. A winglet has gone flying. Is that from Hamilton? I don't believe so. No, it's from Lando Norris. Norris runs into the back of the Alfa Romeo and picks up wing damage, so he's going to have to pit for a brand new front wing at the end of this lap. So that, well, completely relieves the pressure he was putting on me. And Lewis Hamilton, by staying out longer than all of us, has put himself buried in traffic. And now Valtteri Bottas has made his pit stop. Leclerc takes the lead by pitting so much earlier than the Mercedes. Bottas is comfortably out in front of Hamilton. Bottas would be in P2 still, over Sebastian Vettel in 3rd. Then, of course, 4th belongs to Verstappen, 5th to Perez, 6th to myself, and Lewis Hamilton in P7. Now, keep in mind, like we said, if Bottas wins this race, 25 points, Lewis Hamilton has to finish 5th or better to keep his championship hopes alive. Now, if Bottas scores the fastest lap, well, if Hamilton scores 5th, the best he could do is tie. It would come down to wins, so he would be looking for 4th, of course, to not have to rely on a tie. So, just as of right now, until the fastest lap's determined, 5th or better is what Hamilton needs if Bottas wins this race. But right now, Valtteri Bottas is not leading. Now, here's where things get interesting. Not this. In front of us, this is Verstappen and Perez going back and forth, bringing me right into the fight. And how about Pierre Gasly? He's actually passed Lewis Hamilton on his soft tires. Hamilton doesn't have the pace on this second run of the day. And now what's key to note is anyone that's on mediums right now, for the most part, is going to the end of this race. They're trying to one-stop it. Now, the Ferraris both are on a 2-stop, and I'm also committing to a 2-stop. I just don't think I can really comfortably get this set of mediums to the end of this race. Ricciardo has made his 2nd pit stop now. He's on a very wildly different strategy, to be completely honest, and Leclerc has also made his pit stop, his 2nd pit stop, that is, and so has Sebastian Vettel. So both Leclerc and Vettel have already made their 2nd pit stops. They really didn't do a whole lot of laps on that 2nd run, and now they're going to be pushing as hard as they can, because Perez and Verstappen, Bottas, they're going to the end. Hamilton going to the end as well. I could try to make it to the end, but like I said, I don't have the confidence I can get there, so I am just going to kind of play it safe and just go for the 2-stop. So we have actually fallen out of DRS range from Sergio Perez, who currently runs 3rd. We're up to P4 through this whole pit cycle sequence, and Lewis Hamilton now that he's got DRS on me, he's driven away from Pierre Gasly, who's also come into the pits, but Hamilton did pass Gasly before he did come into the pits, and here comes Lewis now. He's going to pass us. That puts Hamilton into 4th, so no matter what, as it stands right now, he's mathematically keeping his championship hopes alive going into Abu Dhabi as Bottas leads. I don't think the Ferraris on the 2-stop can run down the leaders. Leclerc, I think they've made a bit of a wrong call, and I didn't realize that in the moment, because I feel like now looking back on it, as I come in, I feel like looking back on it, I made the wrong call here, and I, in hindsight, should have tried to just make this 1-stop work. Instead, we've come in for a 2nd set of mediums, and we're going to go balls to the wall hard here for the final run. But I just, looking back on it, don't think this was the way to go. We're going to come out behind Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel. Lance Stroll as well right here just in front of me by a couple of seconds, so we go down to P9. Ricciardo still not in the top 10, as he's on track for maybe a top 12, top 13 or so, but we shouldn't really be under much pressure from anybody behind us, except for maybe, how about Pierre Gasly on the hards? We come to 15 laps to go, and he might have something to say by the tail end of this Grand Prix, but I think we're going to be able to put enough of a gap on him in the first 10 laps or so of these tires to where we shouldn't really have to worry. Now what we're focused on is running down Lance Stroll. Fellow Canadian, we've done exactly that here. Now he runs in P8. We're about to take P8 away from him. We are putting a really good race together, even if we made made potentially the wrong strategy call. Now as we pull up to the back of him, pull out to the right side, we'll have that inside line on the run into turn 1. We'll clear him before turn 1. Thank you very much. Up into P8. We should be able to run down Raikkonen. I don't know if I can get any further than Raikkonen. Vettel is in P6 and he's 6 seconds up the road, and I just don't see a world where we can get to him. Even though we were running Vettel down at the end of that first run, things as this race has progressed, it's obviously gone in a bit of a different direction, more in the favor of the Ferraris. So I think if you were going to do that 2-stop, you had to do it when the Ferraris pitted, and obviously we just kind of found ourselves in an island of our own on strategy, and yeah, I just don't think we've made the right strategy calls today. But we still have gotten ourselves up into P7. Now, Lewis Hamilton currently runs in 4th, still behind Perez and Verstappen in P2. Verstappen yet to win this season with Red Bull. Wants it to be tonight, but he's not running down Valtteri Bottas. Bottas in a league of his own. If he wins today, that'll be his 13th career win. He started the season at 7. He's won 5 races this season. If you're wondering, by the way, about Lewis Hamilton in this timeline, he has hit 89 wins in his career, looking for, of course, number 100 in the coming seasons or 2. As we continue to watch Hamilton try to run down, of course, just anybody. He is getting closer to Sergio Perez, as you see on the track map. Actually, yellow's right in his vicinity. Is that him or is that somebody else? It's Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's engine it's gone. It's over. Championship 7's gonna have to wait unless Valtteri Bottas DNFs. It's complete shambles and season over for Lewis Hamilton.
I don't even know what to say, guys. I can't believe it's ending like this.
You don't need to say anything, Lewis. You deserved better. I'm sorry.
I cannot believe that. That is 2 back-to-back mechanical failures, 3 in the last, I think, 5 races. If you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, if you're Lewis Hamilton at all, you have to be speculating, to say the very least. I mean, that is unacceptable. Bottas had 1 in Monza, and then Hamilton's had 3 in just a few short races. I mean, if that doesn't destroy trust within your team, I don't know what will. I mean, I cannot believe that. And all of a sudden, this championship is about to come to an end. Valtteri Bottas, he's gonna do it with, well, controversially, help from his teammates' mechanical failures over the last 5 rounds. He's looking for career win number 13 to be the biggest win of his career, because now, as he hits just 3 laps to go, he knows he just needs to bring this home, and he will lock up his first ever Formula 1 World Championship. What a story this has suddenly turned into just 2 rounds ago. The question was, can Bottas keep the fight alive to Hamilton? And the story has changed in a matter of 2 races to Bottas being just 2 laps away from becoming world champion. As we cross the line in P6, Vettel sets the fastest lap as the final lap is officially underway. And it's over. Valtteri Bottas is already rounding the penultimate corner. He's got 1 set of corners to go, as we have had one heck of a race here under the lights in Bahrain Short to put ourselves in P6. But Valtteri Bottas make way, Formula 1. We have a new world champion out of the final turn down the front straightaway, career win number 13. And Valtteri Bottas is a world champion. He's on top of the world in Bahrain. Unbelievable. Can you believe it? As Hamilton is going to be absolutely mentally destroyed after a failure like this. I cannot believe it still, as we're coming to the end, and you do have to wonder, what does this mean for the future of Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes? Do they carry on for 2021? There's a contract in place, but that doesn't guarantee anything in the world of motorsport. To the line, P6. We'll take it. And now the discussion changes from Lewis Hamilton versus Valtteri Bottas to now myself and Daniel Ricciardo, who will be going head-to-head to beat each other in the standings in the final round in Abu Dhabi. Who comes out on top, the experienced vet or the aggressive rookie that's been part of plenty of controversy? As Valtteri Bottas is going to celebrate with Toto Wolff here momentarily, I can't wrap my head around the downfall that we have witnessed of Lewis Hamilton and the just overall reliability of his Mercedes over the last 5 rounds, and everything has gone into favor of Bottas. We speculated and thought that, you know, something was going on after Monza when Bottas had his mechanical failure. Obviously, things have completely changed in a full 180 degrees since then, and now you're going to see Valtteri Bottas celebrating there in the garage with his team. A lot of glory, a lot of happiness, a lot of excitement and pride from Valtteri Bottas there, who we know is returning next season to Mercedes, and he couldn't be happier than ever to be returning to that team, I'm sure. But wow, I mean, wow. Unbelievable Formula 1 can be. And Ricciardo actually ends up scoring a point, so he rebounded into the points. Great effort there. But Albon, Hamilton, of course, with the DNFs here today. And we'll look at the standings. It's officially over between those two Mercedes teammates, and Hamilton's going to be more determined than ever going into 2021 to bounce back, I think. And look at this, Ricciardo has 53 points compared to my 52, so there is something big to fight for going into Abu Dhabi. I want to beat my teammate as a rookie more than anything right now. And in the Constructors, we're in a fight as well with AlphaTauri. It's swayed in our favor. We have a 5-point advantage over AlphaTauri going into Abu Dhabi. Millions of dollars on the line for P6 versus P7. We'll settle it out in the Abu Dhabi season finale. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.